rocket yarn, my fellow space tubers. Okay, so today we are having another launch of the Arianespace, and okay, this is a launch wherein they will be utilizing their light launcher, but that doesn't mean that the mission is a little bit light or easy to do. Okay, light launcher does not mean a mission is easy. So let's have a look at everything which we should know. So if you don't know what Arianespace is, Arianespace is basically a company which is responsible for launching satellites for ESA and European states. Okay, so like we have ULA for NASA. Mostly most of the satellites are launched by ULA for the NASA's, and here there for ESA we have Arianespace, and it's a private company. So now we can have a look at the Vega rocket itself. Oopsie. Oh, hey Pico. Yes, is it visible? Yeah. So hey, we have a look at the Vega rocket itself. This is the Vega rocket, as you can see here. Its maximum payload capacity to the polar orbit is 1500 kilograms, and it has a launch rate of 3 to 4 per year. So it is basically a rare launch which you will be seeing, because you won't be seeing this launch often, this beauty fly often, because of its low launch rate. So this is, as you can see, a 4-stage launcher. This is a 4-stage launcher, and all three of these are solid rocket boosters, and this one, the last one, is the liquid fuel engine, and is a velocity trimming or velocity module, trimming module, which is basically used to achieve different orbits for different satellites, or used to correct any orbit achieved by solid rocket boosters. So as you know, the solid rocket boosters are not reliable enough, as in they can be turned on or off, like liquid fuel engine, and their capacity for their thrust to go at full power and then come at some level. Sometimes there is some what do you say, sometimes there is some inaccuracy, because the material used can be of something of different uh, I don't know, configuration. So could be something, and to avoid everything, we use a velocity trimming module in the upper stage. So this is the first stage. It uses STPB as its fuel, and it contains 87,000 of propellant in it. Wow, that's a pretty good high number. And guys, how are you? First of all, just tell me that. Hi Stephen Lawyer, and hi Nikolai, how are you? So it can deliver a maximum thrust of 3015 kilonewton, and it burns for approximately 113 seconds. So since this is a solid rocket booster launch, so it has more thrust to weight ratio. So this launch will be a spectacular launch, because just after the launch this vehicle will go whoop and into the sky. So yeah, it will be a treat to watch this. And this is the second stage. Now this second stage is uses second and third both uses Zephyr or solid rocket motor, and basically loaded by with 23,000 tons of solid propellant, and it can produce a maximum thrust of 1.1 kilonewtons. No, 1120 kilonewtons. Wow, that's a pretty good number. And it also has the solid propellant as HTPB. Most of them uses this one only. And for this, the third stage is also a solid rocket booster, and it uses 10,500 kilograms of propellant and 370 kilonewtons of thrust. Then finally the upper module. So this is the upper module. You can see it's kinda beautiful to see also. It's known as AVUM, or attitude and vernier upper module, which runs on bipropellant main propulsion system to provide orbital injection, and a monopropellant propulsion system for roll and altitude control. So monopropellant nothing but RCS thrusters, which we have in most of the rocket, and the other one is the bipropellant, which is basically UDMH and NTO as its fuel, and these are hypergolic fuel, so they just light up immediately when they come in contact with each other. And it contains about 577 kgs of propellant and produces 2.45 kilonewtons of thrust. And finally the fairing we don't have to know some great deal about it, but yeah, there's a fairing which is 7 meters long, so it's a pretty good fairing, means the height is pretty good. uh, yeah, the launch mass is 137 tons, which you should know, and these are some pictures. Here you can see the fairing being enclosed with two satellites. So we have two satellites here. We'll talk about that in a bit, and these are being enclosed in the fairing, as you can see here. uh, yeah, these are some views of the construction of the rocket. And this is the mission profile. I don't know if we will be seeing that on today or not, but okay, let's have a look at the mission profile itself now, because we have to look it. So let's have a look at now. So this is the thing. At 0 kilometer, this ignition will be there for the first stage and liftoff. At around 50 kilometers, the first stage will be burnt out and will be separated, and the second stage will be ignited. Then at 100 kilometers, the second stage will burn out, and the third stage will be ignited, as you can see here. Okay. And in between 100 to 200 kilometers, there is a payload fairing separation also, and we have then at 200 kilometers the burnout stage. So as you can see here, there's kind of a pattern in which everything is being doubled, but for the last one it is different. It is around 800 kilometers, but today the intended orbit is around 600 kilometers, so it will go to that thing. And after fairing separation, this we also have a burnout of the third stage, and then the third stage separates and fourth stage ignite, and then put the satellites into desired orbit. So yeah, that's a thing which we needed to know, and we can have a look at now the mission profile itself. So this mission is the Vega flight VV17 mission, basically the 17th mission of the Vega, and this is how the rocket looks like, and this is how it ignites. And yeah, so the 50 Vega VV16, just the previous mission of the Vega, launched 50 plus satellites into the orbit, and oh boy, that's a pretty good number. Okay, so now okay, we uh, yeah, here we go. So the payloads are CEOSAT-Ingenio, which is a satellite from space, and Taranis, if I'm not wrong, is a satellite from France, if I'm not wrong. The launch site will be the French Guiana Space Center, obviously the spaceport in French Guiana. The customers are European Space Agency on behalf of CDTI, CNES, and yeah. So the orbit which it will be achieving will be a sun synchronous orbit. The altitude will be around 670 kilometers, and the mission duration will be around 1 hour and 42 minutes. So it will be a long mission, and I can imagine it to be a long mission. Why to be a long mission? Because it has to deploy two satellites in space. I think that's the thing. And yeah, this is the CEOSAT-Ingenio. This is how it looks like. And CEOSAT-Ingenio is a high resolution optical imaging mission of space. So basically this is an earth observation satellite, the flagship mission of the Spanish space strategic plan. I think it's their first earth observation satellite, if I'm not wrong, and boy, they are going pretty good. Its mission is devoted to ensure an even coverage of the areas of national interest, providing a large operational capability in the capture of high resolution multispectral land optical images for numerous user groups, and yeah, supporting nations. So it's a main objective is to provide information for applications in cartography, land use, urban management, water management, environmental monitoring, risk management and security. So yeah, pretty good use we have for this satellite. And this is how it looks like. This is the Earth observation satellite of Spain. Good luck to Spain. And next we have the Taranis satellite, which is acronym for Tool for the Analysis of Radiation from Lightning and Sprites. So this is a satellite which is basically analyze this lightning and sprites radiation. So it's a cool thing to have. The Celtic god of thunder and lightning is the first satellite designed to observe luminous, radiative, and electromagnetic phenomena occurring at altitudes of 20 to 100 kilometers over thunderstorms. Wow, wow! I didn't know about this thing right till now, that we have some radiations coming out of the thunderstorms also. So, and this is a satellite which will be studying that part of the thing. So I'm pretty excited for this one. Exactly. It has three main objectives. Okay, so these are some scientific terms. Let's leave it for now, and uh, let's see if we have something from the Arianespace only. Hi, Louis Smith. How are you? And yeah, we have right on time. Oh, okay. So I'll switch over to that. Uh,
...18 minutes time. Now I'm
Sorry
here in
about
Paris.
that.
I've got various guests with me. We've got quite a jolly show for you tonight, lots of people for you to meet. We'll be going over to the European Space Agency and to the control centres and meeting the teams at the French Space Agency in Toulouse in France. But let's kick off by going over to the Mission Control Center in Kourou at the spaceport, and Stefan Israel is there. Stefan is the CEO of Arianespace. Stefan, thanks very much indeed for joining us. How are things going there in Kourou? I think Stefan may not be able to hear us. He's putting his earpiece in, so I think that we'll be coming to Stefan in just 1 minute. So let's give him a beat to get his earpiece ready. Hey, Stefan, I wonder if you can hear me now. It looks like we are waiting for Stefan to be able to hear us. Stefan Israel, the CEO of Arianespace. Stefan is in the Mission Control Center there. Can you hear me, Stefan? So let me just...
Yes, I hear you very well, Cathy.
Thanks very much, Stefan. How are things going in Kourou?
Well, things are going very well. We are now just waiting for the latest news of the weather, because we have just had a red link to a risk of lightning, and you know that this is a risk we cannot make, because this is a risk for the integrity of the launcher. So we will know in a few minutes, 10 minutes before launch, if this red becomes green, which in this case would be favorable for tonight, or if we have to wait up to tomorrow to make a new tentative. So we will know that in a few minutes.
Okay, well, while we are waiting for that, Stefan, do you want to just tell us a little bit about the flight team who you have with you tonight?
For sure.
Yes, definitely. So we are here in the Jupiter Control Center, and we have all the teams which are involved in this launch. And we have at this desk the team of Arianespace. So we have with us Marino Franito, who is the head of the Vega business unit. So Marino is with us. He's a member of our EXCO. We have Bruno Gérard, our director d'établissement. We have Ettore Scardoccia, who is the CTO of AVUM. And we have as well Roland Lagier, who is the CTO of Arianespace, and with us, but she will come in a few minutes. So we have Claudia Flotteux, who is a new member of our executive committee in charge of Arianespace operations.
And welcome to them all. And Stefan, tell us about our satellites.
So tonight we are going to launch 2 satellites. We are going to launch SEOSAT-Ingenio for ESA and for Spain, for the CDTI. It's a satellite about environment and Earth observation, and we are going to launch Taranis, which is a scientific satellite which will help us to better understand the storms, and this satellite is for CNES, the French space agency.
And we look forward to that. Stefan, thank you very, very much indeed for joining us. We're going to let you go now so that you can take care of...
Guys, if you are just joining in, I'd like to tell you that we are red on the weather, and at T-minus 10 minutes, we will be able to see and know if we are go for launch or not. So, yeah, okay. So, I can't...
Distinguished friends and guests, today we are about to see the launch of SEOSAT-Ingenio. This satellite is an important program for ESA in Earth observation and a good model of cooperation with a member state, with Spain. The satellite is a state-of-the-art, high-resolution land imaging satellite that will provide imaging products to different Spanish civil, institutional and government.
The resolution will be around 2.5 meters if I'm not wrong.
In the framework of Copernicus and GEOS.
With black and white resolution, and if they want color resolution, the resolution decreases to 5 to 10 meters. Yeah, if I'm not wrong.
Agriculture, forestry, urban development and water management. It will also be used to help map natural disasters and to respond to the issue of climate change. Today's launch concludes a long development phase. All of us have shown dedication, endurance and stamina throughout this duration. I want to thank everybody involved in this effort, in particular the EOP team led by the project manager Alex Popesco. But also I want to thank everybody else who was contributed to this project. I would like to thank Airbus Spain and CDTI and the respective project leaders, Oriol Alvarez Trotta and Jorge Lomba, and their teams. All of you have done an excellent job, and your achievements are even more impressive when you consider the adverse circumstances introduced recently by the COVID-19 crisis that you have had to deal with. I thank you really for that.
Exactly.
SEOSAT-Ingenio epitomizes the excellent cooperation between ESA and its member states, Spain in this case. While the overall programmatic and financial responsibility is with CDTI, ESA was entrusted with the technical and contractual management of the program. Besides developing the system itself, the objective was also to enhance the capabilities of the Spanish space industry, and this has certainly been achieved with this project. Beyond the Spanish primes of the satellite, the instrument and the ground segment, almost the entire range of Spanish space companies has been involved. There are 17 of them. They have demonstrated their unique competencies, which are a precious and indispensable asset to European space activities. This program has been a step in a steady, continuous increase of industrial competencies for Earth observation in Spain, but also towards an increased role of Spain in the field of Earth observation overall. Spain has invested heavily in this field since the last ministerial meeting in Seville, also in the European Copernicus program. This is providing great return to the country in terms of industrial contracts, like the prime contractorship of the Sentinel expansion mission LSTM, just finalized and signed these days, but also in terms of benefit to users and value for the scientific community. As ESA's Director of Earth Observation Programs, I'm happy and proud of ESA being part of the SEOSAT-Ingenio family. And I'm looking forward to a fruitful mission for the benefit of Spain, of Europe, and of the entire planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think now we should be seeing an update from them.
So Stefan introduced us to one of the teams back there in the Mission Control Center. That was the Flight Directorate. But there are actually a number of different teams all sitting at different desks within what we call the fishbowl. It's that protected glass. And there are a couple of key people. There's the Range Operations Manager, but there's another one who is the Mission Director, or Chef de Mission in French. Today it's Cyril Ponroy.
Okay.
Cyril, c'est quoi votre rôle? Ça veut dire quoi être chef de mission?
What's your role, Cyril? What's a mission director?
Au profit des satellites, avec en interface d'un côté l'équipe lanceur et la base spatiale. Arianespace est un opérateur de lancement. Il signe des contrats de lancement avec des clients. Il signe un contrat avec un prime qui va fournir un lanceur, une fusée, et il a un contrat de support opération avec le CNES CSG pour la mise à disposition des ensembles de préparation des charges utiles. À ce titre-là, on manage la campagne au profit des clients.
Et le jour du lancement, le J0, c'est quoi votre rôle?
Au J0, on a d'un côté les satellites qui sont prêts au lancement sous la coiffe. Ils ont quelques activités à dérouler. D'un autre côté, on a l'équipe de lanceurs qui prépare la fusée pour le décollage. Et de l'autre, la base de lancement qui se prépare à dérouler les dernières opérations pour le décollage. Et donc notre rôle, c'est de coordonner ces trois entités au niveau de Jupiter 2.
Et nous sommes en confinement dans pas mal de pays d'Europe. C'est comment là-bas à Kourou?
Pour l'instant, heureusement, nous ne sommes pas encore confinés grâce à la fermeture des frontières, à la maîtrise des flux migratoires à travers la métropole. Pour l'instant, la situation est très stable. On se contente donc d'appliquer tous les gestes barrières au niveau du quotidien, au niveau des salles de réunion. Le port du masque est bien sûr obligatoire. Et avec la distanciation sociale et les gestes barrières, pour l'instant, on échappe au confinement.
Okay.
Alors Cyril Ponroy, chef de mission, merci beaucoup et good luck for the launch.
Merci.
So another key person in mission control is the director of the Guiana Space Center, and she is Marianne Claire, and she joins us now from the fishbowl. You can see the glass there, and you can see the VIPs. Hi, Marianne. At this point before launch, everybody's looking at the status panels. What's the latest, and what do they do?
We need to know.
Yes, good evening, everybody. So what you can see behind me is the red and green panel, which give information concerning the good health of the major subsystems which are necessary for the launch. In case of Vega, we can interrupt the launch countdown until H0 minus 8 seconds in case of problem. There is five types of families which are for monitor through this panel. First of all, the launcher itself, of course. Secondly, the satellites, and also the radar and telemetry station, which are necessary to follow the trajectory and to give information on the behavior of the launcher during the flight. Fourth, we have safety means. In case of problem, we can send an order in order to destroy the launcher. And of course, until the end, we check that all the equipment necessary for this function are working properly. And finally, of course, the last but not the least, the METEO criteria. And you see today that there is a suspense with this criteria until the end of the chronology. So for the time being, this criteria is green. And it is very important because it is with this criteria that we check that in case of problem in the first part, first part of the launch, there is no danger and no risk for the ground population. So you just have we just held the last key point before the launch, and now everything is green. So far so good. Every light are green here in Kourou.
That's great news. I'm very pleased to hear it. Thank you very much indeed, Marianne Claire. Now, I'd like to introduce you to Damien Gilles, who is the head of space system engineering here at Arianespace. Do come and join us, Damien. thank you very much for being with us. So Damien is now going to be with us for the rest of the program. And Damien, you've brought a model with you, I see, very kindly. What's this? What are we looking at?
This model stands for the upper part configuration for the flight of today. So you can see here we have the fairing, which is a white structure, under which you will find the 2 satellites of our mission. In upper position, you will find SEOSAT, which is the upper satellite, and it is mated on the dark structures that we call the Vespa. And inside this structure, you will find Taranis, our second co-passenger for today's mission.
Now we're coming up to the beginning of quite an important phase in the launch. It's called in the final countdown. It's called the synchronized sequence. Tell us about that.
The synchronized sequence is the end.
Attention pour le début de la séquence finale lanceur. Top. H0-4 minutes.
And there we have it. The Range Operations Manager has indeed launched the synchronized sequence there.
Yes, this is exactly what we heard. It's the beginning of the last step of the automated sequence, where the launcher will be completely autonomous at the end, and it includes several steps, such as loading the liftoff time into the onboard computers, loading the flight program software, and at the end, the launcher will be completely autonomous to perform the last operation just before liftoff.
And
okay, so we've got quite a long mission ahead of us tonight. We've got, I think it's going to take us about just under 2 hours to deliver our satellites, isn't it? So let's have a little look at our mission, and maybe you can talk us through what's going to happen, Damien.
Exactly. Just after liftoff from Guiana, the first stage, called PAT, will start the mission with a flight roughly less than 2 minutes. Just after, we have the second and the third stages that we call Zefiro-23 and Zefiro-9 that will increase the launcher velocity thanks to the use of their own propellant consumption and separation of the stages. The fairing is jettisoned at the beginning of the Zefiro-9 flight. We have then the separation of the Zefiro-9 based on an acceleration criterion. And we have the first ignition of the AVUM, which is the upper stage, for around 6 minutes. It will allow us to inject the launch vehicle onto an intermediate orbit, during which the launch vehicle will be circularized thanks to the second ignition of the AVUM boost just prior to separation of the upper satellite, SEOSAT-Ingenio.
Okay.
After separation of SEOSAT-Ingenio, we will have the separation of the Vespa upper part a few minutes later, and then we will get prepared for the injection onto the next orbit with the help of the third AVUM boost, which will put the launcher onto another intermediate ballistic phase. At the end of this ballistic phase, we have a fourth AVUM boost that will allow us to circularize the orbit prior to injection and separation of our second passengers, Taranis. The mission is not ended yet for the launcher at this point of the time, and we will complete the mission from the launch vehicle point of view with the fifth AVUM boost, which allows us the control re-entry onto Earth.
So guys, we are now just above 1 minute, T-minus 1 minute from the launch.
There we go.
And
so yeah,
yes,
thank you very much. There's quite a
Attention
mission
vidéo.
tonight and lots to look
Attention pour
forward
moins
to.
1 minute.
We
Top. H0-1 minute.
have just heard from the Range Operations Manager that we are 1 minute to launch, and we are orbiting SEOSAT-Ingenio for Spain and the European Space Agency, and Taranis for the French Space Agency CNES, and for the scientific community. We're going to sit back and watch now and wish best wishes to all the teams.
so guys, now T-minus 30 minutes and it is getting really excited now, especially for me, and we can see the rocket here at the pad. So T-minus 20 seconds, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Ignition and liftoff of this vehicle.
Allumage
Wow.
et décollage Vega17, SEOSAT-Ingenio et Taranis.
This had such a bigger thrust to weight ratio, man. Did you see
Propulsion est
the
nominale.
Wow. Here we have the catching of
Tous
the
les paramètres
fuel.
à bord sont normaux.
Everything is nominal right now, guys, and the vehicle is
Acquisition
passing.
de la télémesure pour la station de Saint-Jean.
Vehicle will be passing through a max queue in just a moment now. And I don't think so we'll be having those details, but yeah.
And they are off. SEOSAT-Ingenio and Taranis are on their way. Vega flight number 17 is blazing a trail towards space over the night skies of the Amazon rainforest. And the range operations manager is telling us that everything is going well and according to plan. We've broken the sound barrier, haven't we, Damien?
Exactly. After 30 seconds of flight, the launcher velocity gets above the velocity of the sound, Mach 1.
And the job of the first 3 stages is to get us away from the Earth.
Exactly. We take advantage of all the energy of the propellants that are stored on the 3 first boosters in order to get away from the Earth's gravity as fast as we can.
Because, of course, the Earth's gravity is what makes us stick to Earth, stick to our planet, but it also makes it quite difficult to leave it. And
see, guys, now we are having some technical details also. Okay, so let me just remove this thing. And here we go, the first stage separation and the second stage ignition.
The P80, the first stage.
Exactly.
Et allumage Zephyro 23.
And you're getting the confirmations in your ear, Damien?
The confirmation has been given that the second stage was ignited and everything is nominal. Yeah.
And this is the beginning of the dogleg maneuver.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont
Coming
normaux.
up.
Yes, the dogleg maneuver is a change of the trajectory plane of the launcher that we perform just after the separation of P80.
And we can see that from the graph also.
When you see the shape of the trajectory, it's like a dogleg.
Oh, okay.
That's what it says on the tin, as we say in English. So the Z is for Zephyro, which is actually the name
So
of the
guys,
wind.
right now, yeah,
and it's also the name
Mark,
of
it is a it has a very high thrust to weight ratio, and that's the reason why it has such a blast at the liftoff.
And vitesse down at the bottom is, of course, the speed. And you can see the trajectory there. The cross is the actual position of the launch vehicle.
Par la station de Galio.
So the fairing is what you were showing us just now, the top of the launch vehicle, and it's protecting our satellites from the rigors of the launch.
Yes, the fairing protects the satellite in different phases. First, during the ground phase, it allows the cavity in which the spacecraft are located to be monitored in specific temperatures. And during launch, first at liftoff, it protects them from the acoustic noise. And during the atmospheric flight, as we go very quickly through the atmospheres, it generates friction, and so it generates heat. And the fairing protects the satellite from this additional temperature.
Oh, wow. See the separation and then ignition of the third stage. So
Very loud, you can just imagine.
everything
So here we
happens in
have
just a bit
separation now.
only.
That's what it looks like of the next stage.
Yes, we had the separation of the second stage and
They
the
don't wait
ignition.
for any.
Zephyro 9.
And here we go,
And
the
there we
fairing
go. The
separation.
fairing has now been jettisoned. And we have the confirmations there from the range operations manager. We can see SEOSAT-Ingenio for the first time at the front. And the other satellite, Taranis, is hidden underneath it.
Exactly. So right now
And
you
the
can see the
launcher is
velocity of the craft is 4.4 kilometers per second. Distance is 560 and altitude is 141. So
That
yeah.
are located around the flight path, and that allows us to follow the current status of the flight.
So we are going to see those ground stations now. We have, tell us about those tracking facilities.
Yes, we have several ground stations that are located all over the flight path. The two first ones are located in Guiana with Galio and Saint-Jean-du-Maroni, which allows us to follow the booster phases. Then we will be in direct visibility of Bermuda which will allow us to cover the beginning of the first AVUM boost, and Saint-Hubert in Canada covers the end of the first AVUM boost. The intervisibility periods between two stations are not always interleaved. This is what we call a telemetry hole, and this is something completely nominal because it occurs in a phase where we have no active phases from the launchers, and we have such foreseen hole between Saint-Hubert and New Norcia in Australia for this flight. From New Norcia, we will follow the second AVUM boost and the separation of SEOSAT. Just after New Norcia, we have once again a telemetry gap as the launchers moves around the Earth. This second telemetry gap will reach its end when we will be in direct visibility from Galio again, located in French Guiana.
See that maneuver.
From Galio, the launcher will send again the telemetry data that is
which is
transmitted
coming
back
right
to
now and live animations. If it is, see that telemetry is rocket position right now. It is like going, it has achieved a bigger altitude, and that's why it is just reducing it, and I don't know what is happening. If those are the live views of the live position of the rocket right now.
Into our flight, we are traveling at a speed of nearly 8 kilometers per second, which is just phenomenal, really, when you think about it. He's telling us that everything is going well.
Okay, so that was perfectly nominal, that means.
And we're really entering the next phase now. The main propulsion phase of the launch is over. We're going into the next phase of the flight, which is to deliver our satellites. I believe we're getting ready to pick up the signal in Bermuda.
Yes, we are currently getting the signal from Bermuda, and Bermuda is located in the Caribbean island, as you have seen before on the maps. And this station is a kind of historical because it was already involved on Mercury programs for NASA and also in the Apollo lunar program. So it's a kind of historical location for space.
Oh.
Now, just tell us about our orbits. Where are we? Where is the AVUM upper stage going to take?
As we are on a mission where Earth observation is of utmost importance, we will inject our two satellites onto an orbit that we call
Sorry, I just heard there we had acquisition in Bermuda while we were talking. Sorry to interrupt you.
So we will inject them onto sun-synchronous orbits. This is a kind of orbits where the satellite passes over the same point of Earth always at the same time. And this is why these kind of orbits are very important for Earth observation, because you have always the same illumination from the sun.
So we're coming up to the next point now, which is the switching on of the AVUM upper stage. I call it AVUM in English, and of course the French call it AVUM. And this is what it looks like up there.
We have the ignition of the
taxi driver.
Ignition. Yeah, of course.
It delivers our satellites to their drop-off points in space. And it's really the next phase of the journey now, isn't it?
And now AVUM has taken the wheel, if we can say, so it will propel our launch vehicle with the satellite up to their injection orbit. So for this mission, we will have 2 boosts before separating SEOSAT and 2 other boosts before releasing Taranis.
And our 2 satellites, of course, have 2 project directors, and I've been talking to them earlier.
Okay. So,
Beatriz, this is a really important satellite for Spain, and you must feel incredibly proud as a Spanish woman.
Yes, good evening, Katie. As a Spanish, you're right, I'm extremely proud to participate to this mission, because this is the first satellite that has been fully designed and manufactured by the Spanish industry through a consortium of the different companies of the space sector led by Airbus Defense and Spain. SEOSAT-Ingenio is also the 10th satellite that Arianespace has launched for Spain, but it is the first that could be for the Earth observation, and also the first that is using the smaller launch vehicle of our family, Vega. So while this, if we don't take into account the 6 other auxiliary payloads that we have also launched for Spain, and 3 of them in the previous Vega right-share mission in September. So it is a great day for Spain, but also for France and for all the European countries that has participated to this mission.
Indeed, it is a great day for France, Fabrizio, but also from a scientific perspective, Taranis is important for all of us on Earth, isn't it?
Hi, Katie. Yes, you are right. Taranis, whose name, you know, comes from the Celtic god of thunder and lightning, but that's also the acronym for Tools for the Analysis of Radiation from Lightning and Sprites, is an all-French microsatellites designed, built and operated by CNES. Main mission is scientific one. In particular, the main mission of Taranis is to probe, investigate and probe the physics mechanism that are behind such storm phenomena, so-called TLE, transient luminous event, and TGF, terrestrial gamma ray flashes. But as you said before, the data recorded and delivered by the 8 payloads that are on board of Taranis will be used also for operational application like climatology and weather forecast.
And Beatrice's satellites are travelling today on board the Vega launcher together, but they've actually travelled all the way to Kourou together, haven't they?
Yeah, yes, you're right. The two customers got in touch for sharing the transportation of the satellites. So they have arrived on the same plane here in French Guiana. And the collaboration between the two customers have continued all along the launch campaign, because as I said before, there has been a really great teamwork.
And I would just to add that these two satellites have been married since the beginning, since the signature of the contract, and now this honeymoon will be shortly ended because they will be separated in space.
Thank you very much indeed, and best of luck for the launch today, Beatrice and Fabrizio.
Thank you very much, Katie. Bye.
And we can see those things, guys.
Well, it's a good separation.
It is. The trajectory is good and everything is looking nominal, and High Vestigian he says this need way more attention for a space launch. Exactly, it does need, but hopefully one day people will be more in hand towards these space launches and everything, so let's hope.
Joins us now because we're going to just take a little section now, Marino, to talk more about Vega. So just tell us a little bit more about tonight's launch.
But I don't know why.
So first of all, I have to say,
is it good or not? The trajectory is looking somewhat off, if I'm not wrong. No, it's okay.
Which has been, you know, a very complex flight and great success with 53 satellites on board. We were in the middle of the COVID crisis, so it was very important for us to come back to launch in this period. And now, today, just after 2 months, a bit more than 2 months, we are here again with a very complex mission. So I think Fabrizio and Beatrice have already talked about tonight's launch. I liked very much what Fabrizio said about the separation of the satellites in flight, but I have to say that it's very important for me to point out that Arianespace is able to build these very complex missions, like the one for SSMS, like the one that we're performing tonight for the benefit of the European institutions tonight. We have 2 satellites together. We have, as they have explained, we have built this mission since the beginning. We are married to satellites, so it's very complex to be able to conceive these missions.
The trajectory is looking kind of off, guys. I don't know why, if is it me or is it some off thing off, and they are using that liquid fuel now, so I don't know why is it off. This should not be a good sign.
Multiple launch approach, and with Vega C, this will become even more and more the regular approach that we will use in order to optimize the launch cost for our customers. And so we'll share the same launcher. We'll have a great benefit for all the customers and the institutions which will come aboard.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Marino. It was really, really interesting. Joining us here in the studio is Daniel Neuenschwander, who's the Director of Space Transportation at the European Space Agency. Thank you very much indeed for being with us, Daniel. I mean, as we were saying there, Europe is blessed with a family of launchers, aren't we, which can take virtually any satellites to virtually any orbit.
Yes, any payload to any orbit, but in addition to that, also from European territory. I think for autonomy of action in space for Europe, it is crucial that our institutional customers have the possibility also to launch from our own territory. Then today we have Vega, Ariane 5, Soyuz from CSG in operation, and tomorrow we will put into the market Vega C, Ariane 6, a new family, but with the same full range of performance. And last but not least, I would like to underline the support that member states give to Vega C, which is coming in soon, through the increased support with regard to Vega. We have nearly doubled the number of participating states, showing also their commitment to independent access to space through Ariane and Vega on the one side, and on the other side, also showing that Vega is the right vehicle with the right capabilities to address also new markets.
So the new vehicle, Vega C, is going to be a real game changer, isn't it?
For sure. Vega C being introduced mid-next year will, on the one side, increase its capability of launch of Vega, going from 1.5 tons to 2.3 tons, and also doubling the volume under the fairing, which is also a key aspect to address new markets. Then Vega C will also have a joint solid rocket motor, the P120C, together with Ariane 6, which of course lowers the costs in development and in production. And last but not least, Vega C will have the opportunity to launch ride shares. Marino just spoke about the last Vega launch, where we had a proof of concept of a new adapter allowing us to launch 53 satellites. This is now done. Vega C will be able to address this on a regular basis, and on top also new missions like Space Rider.
Well, tell us a little bit more about Space Rider.
Well, Space Rider is really a new first, because it's Europe entering a new area. We will have now the first reusable space transportation system for in-orbit servicing and also return from space. And this will allow to address and open up new perspectives, new markets. The spacecraft will have roughly the size of 2 minivans, stay in orbit for a couple of months, 2-3 months, and then come back safely on Earth, be refurbished and launched again.
Like that's really exciting, very, very exciting, really something to look forward to. So Daniel, thank you very much indeed for joining us in the studio. So we are going to go now to a film about French Guiana, because the Guiana Space Center is in French Guiana, which is in South America. And
I have to mute this thing, probably. Yes, I need to, because of the copyright issue, obviously. So guys, I just want to say one thing right now. Did you notice that trajectory going off a bit? Because I noticed that thing. I don't know why, but I noticed that the trajectory means the altitude which it needed to achieve was something which I could see a little bit off. So hi Palak Soni, hi Varen here, if I'm not wrong. Was really nice to see. For Sari name, great job, thank you so much. And this is French Guiana. This is some beauty about this place, and you can see this thing. Oh wow, a place to visit. Exactly, a place to visit. Looking really cool and really very clean also. Well, people know a lot about the North America. Means the America is you can say is only regarded as a North America, but we often ignore South America, and it really offers treasures, and we should be knowing that. And this is all around the Guiana Space Center. And that will be a really cool thing to have around the Space Center, yeah. So let it be. What I was saying about the trajectory. Yes, let's see if we have a good update about a good orbit or something like that, because I saw something red on the screens of the computer. Whether it is supposed to be there, or it is not supposed to be there, I don't know, but I saw something red rather than green on some screens of the computer, not the that panel which is on the display, but the computer which is being monitored by the officers there. So I don't know, let's hope we have a good thing there. This is really a nice place to see and have to. If I get a chance, I'll surely visit this place.
Trajectoire dégradée à partir du premier boost AVUM.
We are getting information from the Guiana Space Center that the trajectory is degraded on the launcher trajectory. So we're going to wait for information now, more information from the Guiana Space Center.
Exactly,
and
I was
just
right.
going to bring our program to a pause for the moment. So you can keep your eyes on the Twitter feeds and the website, and we will come back to you as soon as we have more information.
Well, this is not right, guys. It's okay, but the thing is, they have a liquid fuel booster there. So now what, let me explain you the scenario and what they can do to correct the orbits. Okay, so assuming they have enough delta V in that, means they have delta V which they can afford to use, then if for some time they can use that, means if they have enough delta V in that, they can reignite the engine, because the engine does not have any problem for reignition, because they use hypergolic fuels and they just combust on meeting with each other. Okay, so they don't have any problem with the ignition. So if they have that enough delta V, then surely they will be able to correct their orbit. But the thing is, they need to they actually need to see everything and act really very fast, because if the thing has not achieved orbit yet, that means it can re-enter the atmosphere, and we really don't want that. So we really don't want that, and let's hope they act really fast and see what we have. So let me just see. As long as solid separation worked, yes, Jay Watson. And the thing is, if I'm not wrong, the problem started occurring when the fourth stage ignited, if I'm not wrong. There was some problem with the fourth stage or third stage. Let me just see and have a look from the official sources if I have something to tell you guys. But I'm really happy to see this thing, that in this situation also these officials are really calm, and everything is handled calmly. So we currently don't have anything from the official sources. No, we don't have, but we do know that it has degraded, and Vega has suffered a failure. No, not a failure, I should say, but yeah, the thing has degraded. So let's see if they are able to correct it or not. And we don't want that, a failure kind of a thing. That will be really bad to see and have, because there were two satellites, and
So we're coming back to us, the flight of VV17 Vega, flight number 17, SEOSAT-Ingenio Taranis, and we are just getting information, waiting for information now, because we have had information that there's been an issue with the telemetry, but we're waiting to get more now from the Guiana Space Center. So while we wait, I just wanted to ask you, Damien, what is the sort of normal sequence of events in a situation like this? Because I'm guessing that people will have to be doing all sorts of analysis and trying to find out what's happening.
At that moment, I think that the team are probably gathering all the available data in order to get an understanding of what's going on. And then we will wait for further information from Guiana Space Center.
And of course, the Guiana Space Center will come back to us as soon as they can bring us more information. And I think in the meantime, we will again point you...
Poursuite des activités BLA au profit de VV17. En attente d'informations complémentaires sur la situation bord. Que tous les moyens restent configurés.
Can you translate that for us, Damien?
It was a message from the range operation manager that was stating that from the ground side, all the operations are going on. It means that all the equipments are in waiting mode for a new analysis or new data coming from the launch vehicle side, and that they remain in a waiting mode, waiting for additional information coming from the launcher or additional acquisition coming from other means.
So let's just remind everybody of our two satellites on board. We have SEOSAT-Ingenio, which is a Spanish satellite of the European Space Agency, and we have Taranis, which is a scientific satellite for France, for the scientific community, and for the CNES, which is the French Space Agency. Just a sort of a recap of events so far. We did have a red weather at the beginning, but that then resolved itself, the weather status panel, and we were able to launch on time, but we are now waiting for more information because
all the teams are probably working on now from different sites, from different entities, from the CNES side, from Arianespace, from AVUM. In such a difficult moment, all the teams gather together to put all their efforts in order to try to understand and to get all the data on the table in order to get a clear status of what is going on.
So we will point you again towards the Twitter feeds, the Arianespace website, and we will just take another pause now in our program. Have we got more information? No. We will take another pause in our program and come back to you shortly when we have more information.
Well,
actually, one thing we can talk about, which is something that's been done, which is a really interesting subject, is the tests that have been done for Vega. Just to explain to everybody, we have the Vega upper stage has an adapter, doesn't it, which you were telling us about.
Yes, for this flight, we had a specific adapter between Taranis and the launch vehicle. It is called the PASS 610S. So 610 is the diameter of the interface between the adapter and the satellite, which is roughly 610 millimeters. And due to the sensitivity of the Taranis spacecraft to the shock environment, specific tests have to be performed in order to demonstrate the compatibility of the satellite with the environment generated by the launcher. So the test there were several tests in several phases. The first phase was basically to check a kind of fit check, what we call a fit check, that the satellite can be mated completely properly onto its adapter from mechanical point of view and electrical point of view in order to check that there is no interferences and that all the signals can be acquired correctly between the spacecraft and the launcher. And also a second part of the step that was to demonstrate that the spacecraft can sustain the shock environment generated by the launcher, because during the flight we have several separation events. So the P80 separation, Zephyr23 separation, Zephyr9
People will have to be doing all sorts of...
And the separation of the fairing, of course, and the separation of the spacecraft from the launcher itself. The most dimensioning events usually correspond to the separation of the fairing, the separation of the Zephyr9, and the separation of the spacecraft from the launcher. So Arianespace, together with CNES, put in place dedicated tests in order to check that the spacecraft was compatible with this specific shock environment, and so could sustain all the separation events during the flight. This is an approach that we applied on some spacecraft when we need to demonstrate specifically that the spacecraft can sustain this level of shock. In the case of Taranis, it was due to the fact that Taranis was derivated from Myriad platform, which was a platform developed by CNES a few years ago, and this platform was developed according to specifications that did not take into account...
Guys, just I want to tell you one thing, that the orbit which was intended to be made was around 100 into 670 kilometers. Okay, so if it has underperformed, then also there is a possibility that it can correct its orbit, as at least it can just go above the atmosphere in its second one. So let's hope we can get this mission to success now. Also a partial success would also do. I'm not telling you we need a full success. A partial success will be orbit which is lesser than the intended orbit but above the atmosphere, and that lesser orbit is then corrected by the satellite's internal fuel. So let's hope.
Yes, hello Cathy.
Hi Stefan, what's the latest?
Yes, so unfortunately, after nominal liftoff and after good ignition and separation of the three first stage and engines, we have observed a deviation of the trajectory after the ignition of the AVUM. So this deviation of trajectory is an anomaly. The altitude and the speed were not nominal, and we need now to wait for a new NORSA station acquisition to have more information to communicate on the final outcome of the mission. But for sure, this is an anomaly, and we now need to gather and to consolidate more information before coming back to you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed then for that, Stefan. So we will come back to you hopefully when we get more information after that. And so thank you very much for that, Stefan.
For sure, we will come back to you after having consolidated information. Thank you. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the latest news then. So we are going to need to wait for the next acquisition. So sometimes I guess there can be all sorts of reasons for telemetry not sort of...
The thing is, guys, I also noticed one thing, that the velocity was not increasing. It was burning, but the velocity was not increasing. And I thought it is okay, means the velocity was increasing at a very slow rate, and I thought it is okay, but then the trajectory also was a little bit off. So yeah, something went wrong there.
Well, the question is, are we going to carry on now here? And I think we will probably take a pause, a short while, and we'll wait for that information to come through. And Damien and I will come back to you once we get that information and once we go into the range of New Norcia, and Stefan as well. So we'll come back to you shortly. Keep your eye on the Twitter feeds and the Arianespace and ESA websites. See you shortly.
Well. these are some things which we don't want to see, and we don't want to see basically and experience any day for a rocket launch, and it has happened today. So let's hope they are able to resolve it. So guys, the thing which is now in their standing, what they are can do now is just wait for the signal to acquire. They have their loss of telemetry. That's an expected loss of telemetry because of no ground station there. So that's also a thing which they should not means since they don't have a ground station to acquire its position, velocity and everything, so they must be like, ah man, we should have a ground station in that. So yeah, obviously. So we have this thing now, and I don't know whether we should be able to continue to for this, and I don't know. But yes, I was saying the intended orbit was around 100 into 670 kilometers, okay? And if it has underperformed, maybe and surely it will be like into the upper atmosphere, because 100 kilometer is believed to be the common line, and beneath that is the atmosphere. So it was intended to be 100 into 670 kilometers. That means it was just at the borderline of the atmosphere, and if it has underperformed, that means it has the perigee, I should say, is in the atmosphere, and they want to raise that. And the second burn of the AVUM stage is basically planned there, okay? So to raise that thing and circularize, so it won't be going into the perigee right away. So that's a good thing. And since the altitude of the apogee was 670 kilometers, so if it has underperformed also, then also we can hope that it is not inside the atmosphere, because we have a very great margin there. And hopefully for the second burn it can do some adjustments and correct itself. And yeah, let's hope we have enough delta V for that, and corrects itself. At least it gets the perigee out of the atmosphere, so that satellite's internal fuel can do the correction if there is some problem with the upper stage. Hi Chiru, Raju, and Sandcake and Victor. So we are standing by for the information, and let me just see if we have anything. Okay, I'll just have it here, right here, for you guys also to see. And if we have anything, any update, let me just do this thing now. Just a sec here. So we can have it, see now with our eyes only, see if we have something. Vega issues will become clear in around 30 minutes when it passes into the range of the next ground station. So we can, from these things we can say that it is right now they are expecting to correct it or getting some information and hoping to make it correct. So let's hope everything is cool then. I don't know, but from the official sources we haven't seen anything. We haven't got any update from the official sources till now. I don't know. So what should we do, guys, now? I mean, should we play the Kerbal Space Program and try to this have this thing initiated in the KSP or something like that? Let me just open that in the background and see what I can get with it. Let's hope it's okay. It's okay, guys. It has achieved a failure in the real life, but Kerbals are always there to save the day. And we have made this thing so many times now, and Kerbals are always there. So let me just open that thing in the background and to load, and hopefully we'll be able to see that. And let's hope, fingers crossed, that we don't lose this mission, and we are able to correct whatever loss is there in the second burn. I don't know if I have the Vega spacecraft, sorry, not the spacecraft, this Vega rocket made into the KSP or not. I don't know. Let's hope I have that thing. Okay. Yeah, loading. And you can also see that, right? Okay, cool. I should have this thing here. And guys, if you are just new to this channel, then I would like to tell you that on this channel we host live streams of every rocket launch that happens in the space industry. Thank you, Ferraria, for subscribing. And yeah, so if you are that kind of a guy who loves to see live streams of the space launches, rocket launches, and every other thing, and also we have other space related videos on this channel which I put usually. So yeah, you can just hit that subscribe button for latest updates and everything. So, and let me just see if I can get that thing here. Very cool. And guys, if you want to support the channel, you can always become the Patreon. Link is down in the description. It really helps in the channel for me to just go and complete, means do the thing, give me some motivation and everything, and help me with my finances. So uh, I would I would really appreciate that if you can do that. And yeah, in the bottom right corner we have a goal for the microphone. You know, right now the audio is really very crappy, and I really need to upgrade this microphone at least for now, and to make this a little bit better. And I don't know why this is taking so much long to load. Oh man, this is taking forever to load now. This should not be the case, but it is for some reason. Come on, load. So guys, if you are just joining in, let me just tell you that we were witnessing the launch of the Vega rocket from Arianespace, and they had a problem with their orbit. I mean, their fourth stage, that is the AVUM stage, had underperformed, and because of that their orbit has not what they have to achieve. And right now we are just waiting for them to acquire the signal with the next ground station to get the exact position and velocity of everything, means the parameters which they should get. And then they need to plan if that they can do something about it by doing adjustments in the second one. So yeah, let's hope everything is done correctly. Hoping for everything now. Yeah, this is taking forever now. Do we have anything else? Any update? Let me just tell you then if we have. People are right now saying that the problem could be with the hardware or the software, and if it is the hardware problem, I mean the propulsion system has not performed properly, then the vehicle means the satellite and everything has become toast till now. But I don't believe that, because the altitude which it had to achieve was a bigger one, and margin which of error which it can endure is a thing which, yeah, it can endure. So only thing is that before reaching perigee, if they can correct the perigee, then there should be no problem. Let's hope when they get an information about it, we'll be able to see. Wow, man, this is taking forever now. Maybe we can have a look at something else. Let it just operate in the background, and we can have a look at something else now. And so we have this official confirmation, not the confirmation, but the thing is they have said trajectory degraded on VV17 after first ignition of the AVUM engine. Investigations on the anomaly is ongoing. More to come shortly. So we are waiting for that shortly thing. Guys, we can today is the day when the crew one is reaching this ISS, so we can have a talk about that also. Today is the day when in just few hours from now, not few hours, in just 1 hour or from now, the docking sequence will begin, and the crew one will start arriving at the space station. It has been a ride for them because it was initially planned for around 8 hours, the ride for the Crew Dragon to the space station. But since the weather did not allow it, and the launch was shifted from this the next day basically, and hence it became for 24 hours. The ride became 27 hours, sorry, the 27 hours, and finally they are reaching the ISS. And now if once they obviously they will reach ISS, so once they reach ISS, the capacity of the International Space Station will become 7, and it will be at maximum capacity then, and hopefully we'll have the greatest science which we can get from it, we'll be able to get from it, because we having a thing which we want: more astronauts, more science, and that means more for the humanity. We haven't had anything till now, waiting for that to confirm. CPU is taking actually a load here. Oops. Okay, let's just enjoy the music till then it loads. Guys, I just have a plan that since crew 1 is arriving at the space station, so let's have a look at that only right now. And once we get this information about this, then we can have this thing and let it load in the background till then. Okay, so let's have a look at the crew 1 mission now. That will be a good thing to see, right? And here also we are not able to see something which we had to see, right? No movement, nothing. Okay, no problem. होता रहता है, हो जाएगा ये भी ठीक. Here we, oh wow, see this view from the ISS right now. And here we go, night time now. So the night time and the daytime for the ISS is around the orbit is for 90 minutes. Wait, if I'm not wrong, is it 90 minutes? The orbital period of ISS, what is it? I forgot about it. Whatever it is. And Angelo says bad day to Spain. Well, yeah, you can say that, but let's hope everything can be resolved and we get a good update from Arianespace. Oh, so now we can have a look at that only. Let's just make this thing happen now. Airborne are there to save the day. Guys, is the voice and the music game sound is alright, or do I have to change something? Just tell me in the chat. Oops. Okay. Is it a good one to have or some other craft? What about this? This I must have made. I don't know. Okay, so let's launch that one only. Okay, let's go. Oh, I have only one satellite for this, but I will try to explain what I was saying. Okay, maybe try to see, aim for that orbit only, 600 into 100 kilometers. Let's see if I can get it, and what Arianespace can do in right now in this scenario, and yeah, things like that. So let's see those things now. So here we are at the launch pad, and waiting for it to launch. So here we are. Let's have this thing move away, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and seriously, I need to have steep trajectory. So yeah, must be some. Okay, now the audio should have been good. Oh man, no, please, no, correct yourself, okay, correct yourself, please. And come here. Let's hope we can get to the orbit now also. And it really needs some stabilizers for that. Maybe I could add some reaction wheels to it. And don't worry, whenever we have the confirmation, I'll have that in front of you. Right now we don't have the confirmation, so yeah, means the update about what has happened. So here we go, the fairing, posing the satellite, and this is how it is done, right? I mean, yes, it has some problem. It won't be reaching this orbit. Let's hope whatever we can best we can do, we are able to do. It's surely not reaching the orbit. let's just revert this thing and add some stabilizers to it, and then again launch this thing. Oh, it already had so many stabilizers then also. Wow. What am I doing here?
astronauts will float through once they are attached to the International Space Station. This is not the same hatch they entered yesterday when it was on the launch pad. They won't, that hatch won't be open again until they splash down about 6 months from now.
Yeah, and that nose cone only protects the GNC just through ascent, but in the vacuum of space, we don't need that protection, so we have it
and unfortunately they are not good. We can now confirm that the mission is lost. So I remind you what we have observed 8 minutes after the liftoff and immediately after the ignition of the engine of the fourth stage of Vega, the AVUM stage, we have observed a degradation of the trajectory. It means that the speed was not nominal anymore. So we have observed this degradation. We need a little more time to understand the next steps. And after the fact that we have had not the acquisition from the Galileo station, telemetry station, we can unfortunately confirm that the mission is lost. You understand that I want to present my deepest apologies to our customers for this mission. SEOSAT for ESA and for Spain, Taranis for CNES. Arianespace is presenting its apologies, and we have now to analyze, to understand. Our experts are now consolidating the data they have, and we will gather a press conference tomorrow at 10 o'clock Kourou time, 2 o'clock Paris time, to share with the media the additional information we will have gathered in the night.
Okay, Stefan, thank you very much indeed. Stefan Israel in the Mission Control Center there. Thank you. So we will bring our broadcast to a close. I'd like to thank Damien Gilles for being with us during this broadcast. Damien, thank you very much indeed for your contributions, and to our other guests and to everybody. We are bringing the broadcast to a close now, and of course you can go onto all the social networking websites and follow us on the Twitter feeds, on the Arianespace website, and there will be the press conference tomorrow morning after all the analysis. So it's time to say Goodbye and good night. Thank you.
It really, oh, my mic was mute. Okay. So it really, basically, guys, it really means a lot to the Spain, basically, because this loss of the mission means they have lost their own satellite which they have made for the first time. And obviously the science thing, which the France satellite Taranis was supposed to do. I mean, these unfortunate events always teach us a thing about rocket launches and how to make it more safer and more reliable. But that caused a huge amount of loss, and hopefully now they can just basically assess the situation. Best they can do is assess the situation and make the launcher ready for the next mission. I don't know when is the next mission, but make the launcher ready for the next launch with the upgraded and more tested the AVUM stage. So yeah, that's the thing. That's pretty much about it, I think so. But what we can do right now is, guys, have a look at the crew one. It is arriving at the station, so we should be doing that, right guys? Okay, maybe I can just change the title now. So this thing has the update is, guys, if you don't know, we have lost the mission. The Vega mission is lost, and right now we are just trying to be one step ahead with the crew one launch. Crew one launch, not crew one launch, crew one docking. Crew one is arriving at the space station. We need to cover that also, right? So let's just forget whatever has happened today because of various reason. Let's just forget and focus on this happy thing which is going to happen by the SpaceX, and the crew is arriving at the space station. So let's just have a look at all these things, right? Maybe I can just make another stream for that. Okay, so I'll come at 9, means 15 minutes from now. So I can just end this stream, and I'll because I need to make some changes also. I'll come at that time. Okay, so till then, this is Priyanshu signing off, and you just saw Rocket Gyan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and bye bye. And I'm coming back. Just wait for me, okay? Uh